I'm Davy. I'm awesome. And welcome to Davy's Awesome Movies, where I review styles of movies that I love, the alternative, B-rated, cult-style flicks. This week is definitely a cult flick. This movie was made in 1986, and it was written and directed by Stephen King, the horror novel writer, and produced by Martha Schumacher and Dino De Laurentiis, and made and distributed by De Laurentiis Entertainment Group, with the music on this movie provided by AC/DC. Ladies and gentlemen, Maximum Overdrive. The movie opens with some text telling us about the fact that the Earth has passed into the diffused tail of a comet called the Rhea M, and will be there for at least 8 days. So now that's out of the way, let's get into the cameo. An uncredited cameo of the writer-director, Stephen King, getting upset over an ATM card, calling him some filthy names. If you're that upset about it, King, maybe you should just go write a book about it. Oh wait, instead he wrote a script. Machines all over the world start coming alive, even in the control room of a traffic bridge. The bridge starts raising while people are on it, which is a big no-no, causing car accidents and death, and even worse, smashing a bunch of delicious watermelons. Then we see what is basically the lead villain of this movie, the Happy Toys truck, pulling into a truck stop called the Dixie Boy. The truck is going to fuel up while the driver goes inside of the restaurant. I don't think any real toy company would put the Green Goblin of all things on the front of their trucks, but it's cool, so who cares? But while the gas station attendant Duncan is pumping gas into the Happy Toys truck, the pump stops working. Yeah, it says clearly in the policy that you're not supposed to get your face that close to the pumps. But then again, you would have noticed this if you'd had an eye for detail. In the Dixie Boy owner's office, Mr. Hendershot, he is telling one of his employees, Bill Robinson, what he expects from him.
Now you want me to work for 9 hours and only clock in for 8?
And who do you think that guy playing Bill Robinson is? Emilio Estevez.
I was like, Emilio!
And Mr. Hendershot is able to blackmail him into doing unpaid overtime because he is a felon out on parole under a work release program. And Hendershot apparently takes advantage of this. Not just with him, but other employees that are on parole. After this frustrating news, when Bill gets back to the grill, the server Wanda Jean, who is covering for him, can't cut it. But the electric knife can. But it's okay, Bill takes care of it.
Still going.
Emilio!
In the game room...
Now, what?
I miss arcades. Then we go to a Little League game. It also gets a few kids. And it's thanks to this movie that I stayed away from Little League. Who I'm kidding, I wouldn't have gone in there anyway. Not a big sports guy, especially baseball. So I would have been safe in this scenario. Who am I kidding, I would have been at home killed by my television. One of the kids, Deke, does get away as a bulldozer is coming after him. The character Deke is the son of Duncan, the guy who got sprayed in the face with the gas. Then we go to a drifter named Brett, who is making the Bible salesman that is giving her a ride pull over into the Dixie Boy, because the Bible salesman is getting way too handsy. As the Bible salesman is giving Brett an earful, then we see a couple that just got married, Curtis and Connie. If that's not just a perfect name for a couple. Connie is played by Yardley Smith, who most of us know as the voice of Lisa Simpson. Curtis is saying they need to pull over because he needs to get some gas, and she agrees because she needs to go use the restroom.
Can I come in and watch?
No, you cannot come in and watch.
Yeah, that's something you should tell her you're into before you get married. They pull into a gas station, not the Dixie Boy, and immediately they see something. So Curtis goes to check.
Is he dead?
Yep, looks like you're going to have to pump your own gas. Although this is set in North Carolina, I don't think they're one of the states that does that. As far as I know, the only two states that demand that you do full-service stations are Oregon and New Jersey. But who knows, maybe they just found the one stretch of highway in North Carolina that does that. Curtis sees a tow truck and tries to wave it down for help.
Curtis!
Tow truck is not there to help.
Are you dead?
Yeah, I'm dead. Curtis isn't dead. Thankfully, he's still alive. But him and Connie don't get to celebrate for long as the tow truck is coming after them. So Connie gets behind the wheel and her and Curtis drive out of there like a bat out of hell. Deke is riding his bike down a residential street where he's seeing a bunch of dead people and undelivered pizza.
No!
But the thing about the pizza car guy, that car obviously came to life while he was driving it. So why didn't Curtis and Connie's car come alive while they were driving it? Or the Bible salesman's car? You know what? Let's not put too much logic in this movie. That's what gave it bad reviews. Deke stops when he hears something. Ice cream! But instead of going after the ice cream truck like a normal kid would, he hides from it. Which is a good idea. But now he's gonna get clipped! Duncan wants to leave to go find his son in the midst of all this chaos. Which is understandable, but everybody is telling him not to go. Because his vision hasn't completely come back yet. It's still very blurry. But he doesn't care. He has to find Deke. Well, that settles that argument. That same truck hits the Bible salesman's car, so he goes outside to confront it. Well, that was a hit. Now the trucks are circling the Dixie Boy, basically trapping everybody inside and not allowing anybody else to get inside. And while this is going on, we go back to Curtis and Connie.
Curtis! It's coming after us!
I can't believe it! In the midst of this, you pulled over so Curtis could get back behind the wheel? How exactly is he supposed to make it stop? Is he supposed to pull over and look at the truck and say, "Hey, you, stop it. Stop it. You, stop it. Stop." But through some good driving, Curtis is able to get the truck off the road and explode a little bit. They decide to go to the Dixie Boy, which is a good idea because they never did get that gas that Curtis said he needed. But of course, when they get to the Dixie Boy, the trucks are still circling. However, there is a gap in between some of the trucks that Curtis thinks he can make it through. So he revs the engine and he takes off! Well, look at the bright side. You got out of that marriage. They're not dead, though. In fact, Brett and Bill go out there to help them get out of the car and into the diner for safety. But there is a truck right on their tail.
Get with up your home sick.
Yeah! But where did Hendershot get a bazooka? Who cares? After things calm down a bit, Brett and Bill are getting to talking, and she tells him how she was hitchhiking to Florida.
That's what I was doing before every machine in the world went into Maximum Overdrive.
She said it! Brett and Bill go down to the cellar and see Hendershot's arsenal, which I'm not gonna lie, gets me very excited. Mr. Hendershot is not happy about them being down there around his guns, but he's gonna have to get over it. Later that night, after Brett and Bill do the hibbity-dibbity, Bill comes up with an idea of how they can wait this out. If they can get to the marina, they can get to a sailboat which will take them to an island called Haven.
And there aren't any motor vehicles allowed on the place. None whatsoever.
Good plan. If you can get out. Wanda Jean is drunk and losing it.
You can! We made you!
I don't think they care. They, of course, go outside, get Wanda Jean, and pull her back into the diner before the trucks can kill her. But the machines do have a response to her drunken rant. They cut the power inside. But now there's a new problem.
What was that?
The Bible salesman is alive, and apparently he's come too. So Bill and Curtis need to think of a way to get out there and help him.
Don't make me a widow on my wedding day, Curtis.
Eat my shorts. Bill and Curtis sneak over to the truck stop showers, because in there they can get down to the sewers and get to the Bible salesman. Which, good for you guys. Truck stop showers are gross enough on their own, but the sewer? Ugh. But before Curtis and Bill can get to the Bible salesman, Deke meets him. And the Bible salesman tells Deke to pull him out of that ditch.
Or by Jesus, I'll kill you.
He's becoming one of the dark overlords of the universe.
We don't care if you get it.
But Deke is a child and not able to pull a grown man out of that ditch. But while holding on to him, the Bible salesman finally dies.
Help me!
Come on.
Please help me!
They get Deke out of there. So at least there was some good to them crawling through all that poopy. But Connie is worried.
I think they're dead.
Well, why don't you ask them? But they do get back. and take another one down.
Emilio!
Bill, where's my dad?
You want to get this one?
I got nothing.
The next morning, the Dixie Boy gets some new visitors. A tractor and an army machine gun. This pushes Hendershot over the edge.
You want a war?
He takes out the tractor, but that one's going to be a bigger problem. The shooting stops and Wanda Jean is at it again.
We made you! Didn't you understand?
And for trying to reason with the machines... Told you they didn't care. The machine gun starts using its horn to make Morse code, which thankfully Deke can do because he got a merit badge in Morse code. And the message is that they want people to come out there and start fueling up these machines. So, of course, they have no choice. They gotta go out there and do just that. And not only do they do that, but word gets out, so the machines start coming in droves. Convoys, if you will. We got a great big convoy rocking through the... But unfortunately, they do eventually run out of gas. But fortunately for them, one of the trucks there is a gas truck. So Bill gets started on refueling the gas pumps themselves. But someone takes over, he's exhausted, he needs a rest. And it's while he's resting that he gets an epiphany. Kind of like buying a new house that's dirty and cluttered, you gotta sweep it out. He thinks that there must be aliens controlling these machines, trying to sweep out the Earth.
That's what it is, bro.
Interesting theory. I think it was just a crazy script written by a guy on drugs. Bill comes up with a plan. Does it work? It does! And now they're gonna put Bill's plan in motion of waiting it out. But first they gotta sneak down into the sewer.
Do this. I'm just gonna keep. Oh, don't drop me now. I'm very delicate.
Drop her. Now. As soon as the trucks realize that everybody is gone, they start smashing the Dixie Boy. So if you like things getting smashed and you like explosions, this movie is for you. Especially because in the midst of all this... the Dixie Boy survivors get to the marina.
That's it right there. That's the one I was thinking about.
And they're heading to the sailboat when Brad, a small part in this movie played by Leon Rippey, stops. Really, dude? But Brad didn't notice something. What did we learn? So now for the final showdown between Bill and Happy Toys. Truck. Much better. So they sail away and we get a text stating that 2 days later a UFO was destroyed by a Russian satellite that was equipped with laser cannons and a nuclear missile. Which is very convenient. What's not very convenient?
Curtis, when can we get off this boat? You know I get seasick.
Curtis's wife survived. So there you have it, that's a cult classic, Maximum Overdrive. As awesome as this movie is, it did underperform. It had a $9 million budget and did about $7.4 million in the box office. However, since then it's gained quite a cult following. I'm sure by now they've made their money back, and then some. The writer and director Stephen King, who of course I've alluded to, that's Stephen King, the one that wrote the books like The Stand and The Shining, does admit that part of the reason that this movie came out so chaotic is because during the entire process he was pretty much coked out of his mind. He did have a cocaine addiction that very soon after this movie he finally went to rehab for. Other people who worked on the production said he was also drunk all the time. He was set to do a total of 3 films, but so far this is the only film he's ever directed. And when people ask him why, he says, watch Maximum Overdrive. I disagree with his criticism. Yes, the movie is chaotic, but in my opinion, in a good way. This movie was actually based on a short story that King wrote called Trucks, and Stephen King's son, Joe Hill, has expressed interest in doing a Maximum Overdrive remake. I don't know how I feel about that. I don't really like remakes. I usually feel the original is better, but I do gotta admit they probably could have done a lot more with this. Critics absolutely hate this movie. All the reviews that you're going to see from a critic on this movie are pretty much bad. However, as far as the audience's response, it goes 50-50. You'll find bad reviews, you'll find great reviews. Like if you go on there where they have star ratings, I noticed they either get like 4 or 5 stars or they get like 1, 2 stars. There's no in the middle. Part of the reason I wanted to see this movie as a kid was because I was a big fan of Emilio Estevez after watching the Young Guns movies, and I saw this movie after seeing Young Guns. But it's funny to note, that was one of the big reasons that I decided to watch it, and he almost wasn't in it. Stephen King's original choice was singer Bruce Springsteen. Not only that, but apparently Gary Busey was also very interested in being in this movie. Just didn't pan out. That would have been freaking awesome. But we do owe this movie a lot, because it was while working on this movie, Stephen King, who was a fan of the first Evil Dead movie and knew Sam Raimi, had heard that Sam Raimi was having trouble getting a sequel to the Evil Dead made. Stephen King brought this to the attention of Dino De Laurentiis, who through his production company, he helped Sam Raimi get Evil Dead 2 made. So if you love the Evil Dead movies, then you owe it to yourself to check out Maximum Overdrive. Even the people in this movie, though, that didn't really like it when it came out, Stephen King has gone on record to say that this movie is a moron movie, which I think is not fair. It's chaotic. No one is going to pretend that this is like a great coming-of-age, witty movie or anything like that, but it's fun. Yardley Smith has said that she's still embarrassed by this movie. Although in my opinion, you should be embarrassed by the fact that your most iconic role is being in a show that is still on despite the fact that nobody really has cared about it for over 20 years. As far as my take as a fan of this movie, and somebody who's been a fan of this movie since I saw it as a child, it's just a fun movie. No, it's not artsy, it's not epic, it's not very deep at all. It's just fun. It's explosions, it's man versus machine, it's chaos. And it's also said that George Romero, uncredited, but there's rumors that he had a big hand in directing this. He was on set through a lot of it, he gave Stephen King a lot of advice, and they said that he actually did help direct it when Stephen King was too coked out of his mind to do much, and even put some of the editing together. That's a rumor that's never been confirmed or denied. Stephen King doesn't remember. Either way, I do love this movie. I take it for what it is. And on that note, if you haven't seen Maximum Overdrive, I suggest you do the same thing. Take it for what it is. Very fun movie full of explosions. And enjoy Maximum Overdrive. So there you have it. That's my review this week. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And if you did, make sure to hit like, hit subscribe, hit that little bell so you get notifications when I post new videos. And leave a comment. Tell me what you thought of Maximum Overdrive. Love you guys.